All right, guys. Hello. I have missed you tremendously. Let me adjust my sound because it sounds like a little too loud for you guys. But we are back, guys. We are back. It's your girl, your legal bestie, Attorney Symone, and this is our first episode of Girl, Is That Legal? For 2026. Okay, we are going to have a great time today. Let me know where you are watching from. I am so sorry that I've been away, but I've had some health issues. Y'all, I could not get out of bed, my skin, all of the things, but I'm doing a lot better. So I am back now, and we're going to be more consistent. We're going to do at least 4 times a week. And you guys have asked about it. Yes, absolutely. We are bringing back the background checks. Okay. That's going to start next week, actually. And so if you have completed, my screen is very blurry. All right, hold on. Is my screen, y'all let me know. Let more people know. Is my screen blurry? Is it? Okay, if it's blurry, hold on. Give me a second. I'm going to switch my Wi-Fi. Here we go. It's going to take. Okay, guys, we're back now. So it's your girl, it's your legal bestie, Attorney Symone. This is Girl, Is That Legal? This is the first episode of 2026. I know I have been away. I've been away for about a month. I have been sick and had all kind of things going on, but I got better Wi-Fi. It says the feed's a little wobbly. Yep. Okay, so it should be good. Hit it a refresh. Yay. Okay, so the word is I actually purchased new Wi-Fi. So now I know which one is the strong one. We're going to stick with that. Y'all, we got a lot on this docket, okay? We got a lot to catch up with. Now, I'm going to be going live either live or dropping videos at least 4 times a week. I'm working on picking I think we're going to do like Monday through Thursday consistently so that you guys know when to see me. Because honestly, I've missed y'all. And it's been so much crazy stuff going on in our government. You know, I don't want to make my page super political. You know, I like legal stuff, but I'm dealing with dating stuff too, you know. I am still ready to love after, all that you may have known that I've been through. And so, I've got dating stuff going on, and basically both in the membership page and otherwise, I'm going to be sharing a little bit more of that. So it won't just be legal stuff, but I'm going to use this opportunity as well to just talk about any of the viral cases that have been of interest to me. So feel free, definitely. It says, let me see this too. Said it's back blurry. Well, let's see what we can do to kind of get it more stable. Stick with this. It's not even politics. It says, yes, I did get a big shout out today. Hold on, let me push this up. Okay, gosh. So we should be back. All right. So there we go. So don't forget, you can always go to my website. This is SimoneRedwine.com if you'd like to book a consultation with me. Also, if you're injured anywhere in the nation, I handle injury cases. That's actually what I started with, which was personal injury, wrongful death, and I do those across the nation. I have a team of lawyers where we construct the team based on your injuries, based on who in your jurisdiction beats the brakes off of your opponent. So if it's against Walmart or whomever, you can hit me up at 855-4-Simone. I spell my name with a Y, and we'll go from there. And also, if you're in Texas, if you're in the state of Texas, don't forget, you can always contact the Redwine Law Firm to be your title company of choice to handle any closing anywhere throughout the state of Texas. So we would love to help. We'd love to help there. So y'all, everything, like, life has just been very wild and crazy, and so much has been going on, right? I just had a birthday. So if you go to my Instagram page, you'll see let me see this. I had a birthday and celebrated there. But today for the docket, we're going to talk about first the Sherri Shepherd show. Second of all, we're going to talk about Will Smith's weird little lawsuit. And I know you may have heard the facts from other sites, but I got the actual petition that I'm going to put on the screen. And we're actually going to talk about the legal issues. This lawsuit was actually filed by the same guy who represented one of the Tyler Perry accusers. And then we're going to talk Stefon Diggs, Cardi B, Tasha K, that whole rigmarole, and whether or not Tasha K may have just exposed herself to a whole nother lawsuit after she just finally got a grip on the finances and the payment plan set up with Cardi B. So here, let me pull this. There you go. So first off, y'all, so I got a call earlier today. I was preparing for this. I was excited about getting back to you guys today. Hit that like. Please hit that like. And also, if you have Facebook or Twitter, if you could share it there, that will help me get my algorithm back up. But because I've been away for so long, it's not giving people notifications or any of that. So if you could share it to your Facebook page, that would help immensely. So early today, I got a call from my aunt, who's my law partner, and a cousin, who were like, "Girl, did you know Sherri Shepherd mentioned you today?" I was like, "No. What are you talking about?" Y'all, here's the clip.
Too thirsty. Okay? Now, I think everybody.
You're really bad.
When I tell y'all, when it comes to available men, sometimes we women are just too thirsty.
I am very thirsty.
Okay? Now, I think everybody knows, we were all shocked to read reports that Tiana Taylor and Aaron Pierce split up over the holidays. They did. That is such a hot couple gone to waste. They are so, together. They were so beautiful. They dated less than a year. But here's the part that took me out. Women are already flooding Aaron's comments, trying to get his attention because he posted a very, very fine as hell picture of himself. All right, that's what he posted.
Now look at
one
this
comment
man.
said, "We heard you."
Y'all, that's Mustafa, if you don't know, from the Lion King. Now he lives over there across the pond in London or whatever, and I have been harassed in the comment section. I follow him, in the comment section. But not trying to be like a dirty old lady. I'm not that much older than him. But I just wanted to encourage his self-esteem because he's so handsome. And anybody who knows me knows I have a thing for bone structure, okay? And that man has the perfect bone structure. I like men with nice bone structure because that way, if you get fat, because everybody gets fat, if he gets fat or loses his hair or whatever, he's still gonna be real handsome. He's gonna be cute, like a Teddy Ruxpin doll, y'all know, like back in the day. So, okay, when I found out this man might be single again, see, what you have to understand is that I was previously engaged, okay, and I had to call my wedding off about 2 months before, what have you. And therefore, I am in this awkward stage of dating where all the good ones are taken, okay? They're already married. So I have to get them fresh out the oven, fresh out of that heartbreak. I can mend you, Aaron. Okay, first of all, I have healthcare. I've got Obamacare. And so therefore, I can take care of your copay if you need therapy. I have a great therapist, actually. Well, he did go to prison, but he's out now, and we're working on rebranding him as a life coach. Anyway, what I'm saying is, at this point in my life, I don't have time to wait for men to be healed, okay? I will help heal you. I'm also Creole, so I got some healing nature. So, okay, let's let Sherri continue.
Single now, you taking any applications? Another said, "If you ever need a shoulder to cry on." Another woman said, "If you need a friend to talk to, I'm here."
That was me.
But I gotta say this, ladies, come on now. Y'all not even giving this a mourning period.
I don't have that time. Okay. I could die any day now. And I don't want to die without love. Okay. I got to be right there. Do you know I have sat outside of divorce courtrooms at the George Allen courthouse in Dallas? I just sit outside and I wait for handsome guys to go in and come out, go in and come out. And then I have other homegirls who are family lawyers. So I'd be like, hey, does he pay his child support? Like, what are we dealing with here? Is he going to be paying spousal? What's it looking like? Tell me about those assets. I got to get them fresh out the cooker. Okay. I don't have time to wait for healing.
It's like sharks smelling blood in the water. All kind of sharks going after this man. Old sharks, young sharks, cougar sharks, male sharks, menopausal sharks, baby mama sharks.
You're right. I'm not chasing him. I just want to be available when he's ready.
Are we that? I'm going to include myself in it. We that thirsty that we can't even give our sis Tiana a moment? It's only been a week, ladies. What if Tiana wants to reconsider?
Well, I thought it was Tiana's choice. So I just have to say that. I love Tiana. She's beautiful. And honestly, if that's the BMI he's looking for, I don't see a chance. But however, I just assumed that maybe she broke up with him. That way she'd be good to go and she can just move right along. And that he's the one that might need a little healing.
And say, maybe I can give him another shot. Do we have no shame?
None.
At all.
I don't have
and I see y'all like, girl, I don't care what you're talking about. I'm about to make a comment to Aaron.
He's across the
But
pond.
the last comment I read, the one who asked, if you need a friend to talk to, Aaron, I'm here. So I looked at her profile, and her name is attorney Symone Redwine. Symone Redwine is an injury attorney who's been on ABC, Fox, and the Oprah Winfrey Network. And attorney Symone, I look up to you. I feel you should know better than anybody else the statute of limitations on a breakup. I'm just saying, attorney Redwine, is that even ethical to go after him so fast? Aaron doesn't need an injury attorney because the only thing broken is his heart. See, here's the problem. Here is the problem. Aaron Pierre was too fine. See, ladies, this is what you get. And this is why I say, this is why you got to get an ugly man. Or even not an ugly man, you got to get a medium ugly man.
I can't do ugly. My eggs are in the refrigerator, and I paid about $30,000 to put them in there. So I want to use at least one of them. And I'll be damned if I paid $30,000 to make an ugly baby. Okay. And I already know what I'm limited. I know where I'm working with. So I got to really lean on somebody handsome with good bone structure like that. That's why I can't do a medium ugly. The other thing is the ugly ones, they like to cheat. They have low self-esteem. So they need a lot of different women to make them feel attractive because they know they're ugly. So that's its own.
You got to get a man with a great personality. Because see, when you get a man like Aaron Pierre with that height, those eyes, the cheekbones, the abs, you're going to have to deal with all of this, the women circling around. But if you date a medium ugly man, your girlfriends are not sliding into your DMs. They keep fighting for y'all to be together.
Okay, now hold on a second. I do have a theory. Okay, y'all have to hear my theory on this. So I have a theory about I want other women to want my man. I have a high self-esteem. I always have. It's been strange. Probably have too much self-esteem. But I've always wanted other women to like my man. I was trying to explain this to this guy who's very handsome. Because his prior girlfriend was like very insecure and she didn't want nobody like him but him. And I'm like, you're so gorgeous. I was like, listen, because I think of it like if nobody else wants your man but you probably shouldn't want him either. Think of it like, I used to live in New York City. Think of it like the New York City subway seat. Like when you get on the subway and it's rush hour and it's packed, if there's an empty seat that nobody's sitting in on the subway, it's probably got a doo-doo smear. Do you want to date the doo-doo smear guy? Do you want that doo-doo smear? I don't want the doo-doo smear. Okay. I don't want the guy where everyone else is like, oh, no, I don't want him. I want him. Yeah, I want the ladies to be respectful. And he's, of course, got to respect me. And like when we're out, make me feel appreciated and like I'm the only one he's looking at. But I don't want the doo-doo smear. I've dated a doo-doo smear before. He had bad credit. He had a foreclosure and an eviction before the age of 40. It was really bad. He had a roommate at 41 and his rent was only $1,000 a month. There were a lot of things going on. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. I'm just saying, don't date the doo-doo smear. Medium ugly, if that's for you. I can't afford that. My bone structure is too mediocre. But Miss Sherry, I totally get where you're going. Thank you so much.
You get a medium ugly man, your girlfriends are like, girl, that man loves you. You go work it out. That's what happened. So I just say, it's only been a week. Ladies and Attorney Symone, we got to bring back decorum. We got to wait. I think that we got to just wait until the breakup gets cold. It's too soon. Because right now, the comments are not giving sympathy. Y'all comments are giving a casting call. We have to, and I have to, I'm in especially, Joelle, I was thinking, I'm in an especially precarious position because I'm friends with Tiana. So I gotta wait like a year. I can't say nothing. I can't slip in because all the comments, I was thinking the same comments. But when you actually friends with the person, you can't be sliding in the DM. So I even gotta wait longer than y'all to make the comment. So I just say give them a little bit, give it a little mourning period because we were so into it, and let the apple pie cool off. Is what I
let the apple pie cool off. Somebody said
family,
you might
whether
be
it's
gay. Listen, you might be new to the channel, but that doesn't necessarily make me run. I have a standards, and my standards is 39% gay or less. I'll give you a shot. I just need to see what type of gay you are. Is it just like tight pants? Because I used to live in London, and when I studied abroad in college, and I lived in Knightsbridge. And when I lived there, my mommy would say, "Well, did you meet anyone you like?" I said, "Well, no, I can't tell if they're gay or just British, because if you ever go, you'll know they're very trendy and they're metrosexual. It was a lot. So anyway, I love Sherry. That was too cute. And also, y'all, she posted it as well on her Instagram. Y'all tell her she needs to head me on there to do some of these legal breakdowns, which is what we are going to shift into right now. Okay, I would love that's like a dream. And honestly, it's on my list, a dream to go on there and do a legal breakdowns of some of these little celebrity cases. So, okay, y'all ready to get into that mess? All right, let me put the docket back up on the screen. All right, so we just covered. Let's pull this down. All right, so we just covered the Sherri Shepherd show. Next up, we're gonna cover that Will Smith's weird little Will Smith case, and then of course we have to end with the Tasha K, Cardi B drama because it looks like there's another lawsuit coming. Cardi ain't playing with her, and I got the docs to break it on down. All right, so with Will Smith, if you've heard about it. Will Smith, that is a strange little Hollywood family. I think for years we've heard rumors about what they may or may not have going on, what might be going on in their bedroom, and that ain't got nothing to do with me. But this lawsuit was so weird. All right, I want you guys to let me know in the comments after I'm going to give you the facts, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts legally, as well as I have the actual petition we're going to put on the screen. And I want to know who you believe. Who do you think, do you think Will Smith was out of line? And do you think that the plaintiff should recover just based on what we have filed right now? So Will Smith is being sued by a former tour member. This is a violinist. The violinist's name is Brian King Joseph. He actually was a top contender on America's Got Talent. He plays the violin and he's very good. Like he can play all type of soulful songs. And basically Will Smith had met him at some prior event, really liked him, and asked for him to tour with Will Smith in 2025 when Will Smith had a tour. I actually didn't know Will Smith had a tour, but I also don't listen to his newer music. I like his other stuff. Anyway, in the complaint, I'm going to tell you, this complaint was weird. But I went to the last page and I saw who the attorney was. And now it makes sense why it's weird. The attorney is the same lawyer that represents Derek Dixon, Tyler Perry's first accuser, the one who was friends with him, accepted a car from him after like 5 months of friendship, and then claims that Tyler was, feeling on his Peter Weeder. And he spent the night at Tyler's house after the first time Tyler did that. And he spent the night again and basically accused him of sexual harassment and other things. Okay. That lawsuit was weird too. For me, that one, the oddest thing to me is that you're homeboys with this guy that you are alleging, may be a little fruity, and you accept a car from him. I just was raised in the type of environment that if somebody that you think likes your gender, gives you a car, you probably got to give them some. They're going to be expecting some buttercup. Now, you don't have to do it, but I'm just saying that's an expectation. Anyway, we'll revisit that lawsuit. There's an update on that. We'll do that on another day. But here's what made this complaint pretty weird. Okay, so according to the complaint, Joseph said he said that the accusation is he was wrongfully terminated and retaliated against after reporting basically workplace safety standards where he thought it was sexual harassment. Now, according to the complaint, Joseph said that he reported to not to Will Smith, but to Will Smith's touring company, like the manager of that someone had, quote, unlawfully entered his Vegas hotel room during the tour and allegedly left, quote, a handwritten note, among other things, a handwritten note, some body wipes, a beer bottle, a red backpack, a bottle of HIV medication bearing somebody else's name, not Will's name, not his name, left one earring, and hospital discharge paperwork for someone Joseph didn't know. So it meant it's not the HIV man, and it's not Joseph, and it's not Will. That was left in his room. And that is why he felt he was being sexually harassed. I'm not kidding you. Oh, it also included a note that was left in his room that said, quote, Brian, that's his name, I'll be back no later than 5:30, which would have been about 30 minutes from them. Just us. And somebody drew a heart and signed it Stone F. Stone F, I looked it up, is not an alias of Will Smith or anything like that. Literally. This is what, so the guy is saying he came back to his room after being on tour, saw that in the room, and he felt that that was sexual harassment and that somebody was going to be coming back to his room trying to take his booty home. This is the lawsuit. Stay with me. Joseph then said that he reported the matter to the hotel. He also called a non-emergency police line immediately and reported it to Smith's representatives, basically the people that were running his tour, stating he was afraid that someone was going to return to his hotel room and try to fondle his bottom, touch his bottom. They were going to try to have sex with him. And in the complaint, Joseph said that a few days after he notified Smith's team, his boss that he worked for, that he was then terminated from his role with the tour, and he was accused of making all of this up, and they called him a lie. And so the main allegation here is actually retaliation. Retaliation is where you say you rightfully reported something that you felt was a health or safety violation or some wrongful act at work, and in response for you reporting it, you get fired. Now, Joseph he also, check this out, accused Smith in the complaint of, quote, deliberately grooming and priming him for further sexual exploitation. Now, Joseph said in the complaint that he has experienced PTSD from this, guys, and mental illness because of the termination. Now, if you see a picture of him, I'm going to have to tell you, he looked like he's probably already been mentally ill at some point or not during this time. He looks a little strange. No offense, gentlemen. Now the attorney for Smith is like, this is lie, they're false allegations. I'm gonna go ahead and put the complaint on the stage because this is just weird. It's weird. It said I would have just asked to move to another room. He did ask that. Here, I've highlighted it. We're not going through everything. We're gonna go to the important stuff because I want to know what you guys think. Now, here's what I do when I read a complaint for the first time. Doesn't make sense, and I want you to think of it this way. See, we've kind of gotten spoiled. I feel like the public has gotten spoiled by a lot of these celebrity lawsuits. For example, like Little Rod's suit against Diddy, because it gave a lot of details. It attached all these exhibits. That's not what's required under the law. Your petition, which is the first document you file to open your case, only has to be bare bones, where you're just laying out what you are accusing the other person of. So don't be surprised here. You're not going to see like text messages attached or anything like that. And that does not mean this isn't these aren't valid claims or anything like that. I'm just saying that this is actually the norm. Hold on a second. Let me put this banner out the way so y'all can see the whole screen. This is just odd. And here's the thing. When I listen to facts and I read a petition, I would listen to facts. If it doesn't make sense to me, I generally feel it doesn't make sense because either I don't have all the facts, some important facts are missing, or somebody is lying. Okay. So you guys let me know what you think. So here we go. We're going to jump to here. All right. So it says basically, it says Smith and the plaintiff. Um, so basically, around December of 2024, the plaintiff, the violinist, he performed at Will Smith's San Diego show, that was then invited to meet Will Smith, and that's how they initially met. He said thereafter, Will Smith invited him to play on several tracks on Will Smith's upcoming album. And quote, paragraph 19, their relationship got even closer. It said, Smith and plaintiff began spending additional time alone, with Smith even telling plaintiff that, quote, you and I have such a special connection that I don't have with anyone else. And other similar expressions indicating his closeness to the plaintiff. Now, mind you, no text messages or anything are attached to this petition. But y'all, pay close attention. That is the phrase that he's claiming is grooming. I'm going to say it again. You and I have such a special connection that I don't have with anyone else. Well, he may not have a special connection with anyone else because, number one, his kids are all strange, and so is his wife. I don't think she likes him. I mean, she did have that boy toy that then miraculously became gay and is now in love with a boy who's prettier than me, August Alsina. God damn, that's a pretty man. So I can understand why Will might feel, that he and Violin Man have a special connection. I don't know what that means, but I have trouble, y'all. I have trouble. I do not trouble. I don't like when lawyers use the term grooming for a grown ass man to describe what some other man is doing when the man is trying to see if you might be 39% gay or more. You see what I'm saying? That's my particular percentage. Specifically, that is the claim here that phrase, you and I have such a special connection that I don't have with anyone else, and other things, was, quote, him grooming. I said, wait. Girl, I chat GPT'd it because I was like, maybe I'm slow. Maybe I'm misunderstanding it. It's grooming, quote, according to ChatGPT, is a manipulative and predatory process where an abuser builds a relationship, trust, and emotional connection with a, quote, vulnerable person, such as a child, a teen, or an at-risk adult. Now, here's the thing. Derek Dixon, or whatever his name is, accusing Tyler Perry, he claims he was groomed too. Listen, an at-risk adult is like somebody who's slow or has, deficits, like what, what I'm talking about. There's special needs. Okay. At risk doesn't mean poor. Okay. If you are gay for pay, you are not at risk. You're broke. You got poor money management. What you want to do with your bottom hole is your business, but that doesn't make you groomed because a rich person is asking you to open your butt cheeks for $5,000. Let me tell you something. When I was in undergrad, there was a plethora of things that I did for meal plan bucks. Nothing ever like illegal or stuff like that. But I definitely did people's homework and stuff like that I wasn't supposed to be doing. But what I'm saying here is I want your thoughts here. Grooming. Do you feel this guy is like, I want to say he's like 30 years old, the plaintiff. Do you feel under these facts that a 30-year-old man under these facts is being groomed by Will Smith? Let's go back to the petition and we're going to kind of wrap this up. And then we're going to hop over to the Cardi B one. You don't want to miss it. But here you go. All right, back to Will Smith. And let me know, drop your questions in the chat. All right, then, okay, after apparently Will Smith tried to groom him, 30, okay? Now, if we're talking about teenager, even if like 19, where there's a huge like disparity, let's say the guy is like, 19, new to the industry, I could go for that. Yeah, you could be groomed. But you already know what you want to do with your bottom at 30 years old. That thing been open. Okay. Or if this is the first one, when I used to live in the Dominican Republic, there were a lot of men down there who would be gay for pay. It would be like the Dominican men, times were tough, and they would be gay with American men that would come over there and trick off on them. How you pay your bills is your business. That's not, but that doesn't mean you're groomed. Okay. It just means you're poor. Thereafter, it says in paragraph 20, it says following a 2-month break from the December performance with Will Smith, the plaintiff was provided with documentation and touring information for Smith's global tour. And that tour is going to span over several months. The plaintiff was given the full schedule. So basically, he relied on it, made some adjustments in his schedule, expecting that he was going to be hired and paid for months of work. Well, then it says the defendant, which is Will Smith and Will Smith's company, those are the two entities being sued. It says the defendant, which is like Will Smith and his company, booked rooms for the plaintiff and the rest of the band and the crew, with each individual's room number and confirmation code being sent on a spreadsheet to all the cast and crew. This is important. That means everybody else on the cast and crew would have everyone else's name and room number. Okay. It says no other individuals and their confirmation code. Which means if you have that confirmation code, let's say you got locked out your room, you go down to that front desk, possibly give someone else's name and say, oh, well, here's the confirmation code, and get a key to a room that might not be yours. Keep up with this. It says no other individuals besides for the crew and hotel staff would have had access to plaintiff's personal room. Now it says plaintiff's bag, which contained his room key, was left in the van that was responsible for transporting all cast and crew members of defendant's team, like of Will Smith's team, at around 11 a.m. when the plaintiff and the crew were dropped off at the venue for rehearsal. Y'all, that is a fancy way of saying he forgot his stuff. It wasn't nobody's fault for yours. So when he said it was left, who left it? You did. The plaintiff left his bag in the car. That's what happened. He left it in the van. Then it said the plaintiff then requested, that happened at 11. At 3 o'clock, he requested his bag. And then management said, hey, we can't find your bag. And then at 5, it says management returned to the plaintiff with the bag that had the plaintiff's room key in it, 5 o'clock. Then it says on or around 11 at night, while he was staying at his hotel for the performance, plaintiff came back to his room, and that is when he discovered evidence suggesting that an unknown person had entered his room. He said, according to hotel security, there were no signs of forced entry in the room, and the only individuals with access to the room would have been part of the defendant's management team. Hold on. Didn't I read that to you, Bob? Not just the management team. It would be all the crew. That means the drummer, if there's a drummer, the DJ, everyone. So basically what he's saying is the issue he's complaining about is he left his bag in the car, and then he's the violinist. They go to rehearsal. He comes back to his hotel room at 11 o'clock at night, and he realizes somebody must have been in the room. He's claiming the only person that could have been in there would have been part of the management team who booked the room for the plaintiff. But he said all the staff were also on the spreadsheet. So any of the staff could have gone into his room because they would have known room so-and-so is for Brian King or whatever his name is. It says, then it says the evidence included, this is what he found, the weird stuff that was found in the room that made him feel like someone snuck into his room, said there was a handwritten note addressed to the plaintiff named Brian that said, Brian, I'll be back no later than 5:30. It said, just us, and it drew a little heart. Now, hold on, let me see. Make sure I haven't lost you. Yeah, just haven't lost you. Let me see. Because I think my Wi-Fi was acting up our ass. So I hope you're still with me. But it says, yeah, Brian be back no later than 5:30. So remember that somebody brought him, allegedly the bag was brought into the room at 5 by management. However, he wasn't there. He was still at rehearsal. So I guess whoever that brought it at 5 may have said that they want to meet up with him. It says, I'll be back later, 5:30, just us, and drew a heart and said Stone F. We don't know who that is. And then it says, among the remaining belongings were wipes, a beer bottle, a red backpack, a bottle of HIV medication with somebody else's name on it, one earring, not two, and hospital discharge paperwork belonging to some other person that's not the HIV guy, but someone else. Also, what I don't know is this backpack, it says a red backpack, is this his backpack that was missing? Or is this another person? What it actually sounds like here, y'all, stay with me and put your comments in the chat. It sounds like perhaps, remember he had left his bag in the car and he told management to go get it and bring it back to his room. Maybe they found another bag and thought that bag was his and dropped it in his room like he told someone to. So I'm just saying, this is weird and it sounds stupid. We're about to wrap up on this idiotic case. Then it says because he got these items. Now, mind you, these are wipes. I love some wipes. A beer bottle, singular, a red backpack. Now, we don't know if this is his red backpack, again, that was brought, but a bottle of HIV meds with somebody else's name on it, earring, hospital discharge paperwork, unbeknownst to the plaintiff. Honestly, it could have been all stuff that had like fallen out of the bag, or when they went to look at it for his bag and bring the bag to him, that could have been things that staff collected. But then the plaintiff says, because this happened to him, he feared, this is 11 o'clock at night, mind you, he said he feared an unknown individual would soon return to his room to engage in sexy time with him in sexual acts, that somebody was going to come back to his room and do it to him. Now, mind you, the person said they was going to be back at 5:30. It's now 11. So it sounds like you missed your booty call, your unwanted booty call, but I don't know. HIV meds and hospital discharge paper is absurd. But then it says, he says, concern for his safety and those of his coworkers, he immediately notified security. He said he obtained photo documentation. He requested a room change and called the non-emergency 311, reported it. He says then to the police and management, and made clear his only concern was his safety, and he did not want any special treatment or even compensation. There's not anything to compensate you for, boy. If you got your bag back, you got it. Now, this next paragraph was also weird. He then says this is the next day. He says the next day he traveled back to LA from Vegas to, quote, support the cast and crew for a pre-recorded show. Listen, you are hired to be a violinist. If you ain't got nothing to just, if you don't have anything to play, they don't need your support. This isn't soccer. This isn't Lamaze class. So to say he then went to support the cast and crew for a pre-recorded show, meaning it was already recorded, you weren't playing your instrument, you sound like you just wanted a paycheck for that day for hanging around. Okay, but they didn't need you. So then it says plaintiff was then told, hey, it was too late to enter the crew entrance. They'd see him in New Mexico just a few weeks later for the next gig. In other words, it sounds like they're saying, hey, we don't need you today. We're not going to pay you for today. We'll see you in a few weeks. Got it. He didn't like that. So then the next day he calls the boss, Mr. Miller, the same person who told him, hey, we don't need you. We'll see you in a few days. And he spoke with him, during which time Mr. Miller blamed him for the incident that transpired. He says, quote, plaintiff was shamed by the defendant. Let me tell you something. Some people do not know what shamed means, okay? Was shamed by the defendant. They try to use shamed as though someone is doing me wrong. Shut up. Okay, you can be fat shamed, you can be slut shamed. He wasn't shaming you. He was telling you, I think you're lying. Well, for a lot of people, when these facts don't make any sense, they could think he's lying too, and that perhaps this is a setup because he wants to file a theft complaint or something. It makes no sense. That's right, Styles P. This makes no sense, and there's no way he can directly blame the note and belongings in this hotel room on Will. Exactly. So jumping down to the bottom, he then says, when the plaintiff he says the plaintiff was shamed by the defendant, and that when he spoke with Mr. Miller, which is I guess one of the supervisors for the tour guys, he said that, quote, Mr. Miller, acting on behalf of Will Smith, he's claiming, and Will Smith's production company, redirected the blame and terminated him, replying, I don't know you. You tell me what happened, because everyone is telling me that what happened to you is a lie, that nothing happened, and you made the whole thing up. So tell me, why did you lie and make this up? Well, the plaintiff was shocked. He had nothing further to say. And basically, this is why he felt he was wrongfully fired, is because they didn't blame him, and quote, defendant was intent on firing, that Will Smith and his company fired him because he reported the attempted sexual assault. Here's the thing. There wasn't no condom. There wasn't no lube. There's a note that says, I'll be back at 5:30, and this has been placed in your room around 5. It's still daytime at 5:30. Okay, this was in March. That's daylight savings. It's still daytime. Somebody said, I'm going to come back around your room at 5:30. And he said the room key was in the bag. So it wasn't like the person had the room key and was like, I'm going to come in and surprise you. So you sound stupid. And so really what I think here, so it says, quote, so then he goes on to basically outline, the plaintiff outlines why. Now, mind you, guess whose name you haven't heard through none of this debacle? Will's. Only thing you heard about Will is before he even started work, Will said, I have a special connection with you. Now, mind you, he's younger than Will. He is the same age as one of Will's sons. So maybe it was this, I want to mentor you. Who knows? But he said, quote, defendants, this is the claim. This is why he claims that it's sexual harassment and SA. Defendant's conduct, Will's conduct, goes beyond a mere failure to protect an employee's safety or a dispute over a claim. He says the facts strongly suggest that the defendant, Willard Carroll Smith II, was deliberately grooming and priming Mr. Joseph for further sexual exploitation, and that with this sequence of events, Smith's prior statement to plaintiff, the one that said, I have a special connection with you, and the circumstances of the hotel intrusion all point to a pattern of predatory behavior rather than an isolated incident, and that these actions have caused him severe emotional distress, economic loss, reputational harm, and he goes on to say PTSD. This is stupid. This is really stupid. Oh, and what did I put on here? Oh, yeah, this is the attempted sexual assault that he's claiming. Now, I want to be clear on the law. So then he goes on to say that this was violence against him and his person and his property, that by Will saying, you and I have such a special connection, that quote supports the inference that the plaintiff believed that the substantial motivating reason for the unlawful entry into his hotel room is because someone wanted to take his booty. He put that 2 and 2 together. But mind you, Will Smith said this to him months and months ago before he went on tour. So, of course, you got to ask the question. If you thought he wanted your booty so bad, why'd you go on tour with him? Doesn't mean he gets to take your booty. But it's one of the facts that you ask because you're just trying to make it make sense because it's not making sense. In the end, I want to just be clear that under the law, right, and California law is very interesting. If you ever have an employment law case, trust me, you want to get it filed in California because they allow so many things to proceed under employment law. And employment law is very hard to prove these days. But California this guy, as the violinist, was an independent contractor generally under the law, not considered an employee. However, California is one of the few states that allows independent contractors to successfully file retaliation claims. Also, under the law, even if the incident didn't actually, it wasn't actually an attempted SA, but the worker generally believed that it was and reported it with that honest, good faith belief, that is sufficient. Even if it didn't happen, because you can't fire someone for reporting what they believe to be a safety concern, right? There's a lot of great reasons for that because historically that was happening historically. But it says, yeah, people really need to take their medicine, Zen Nurse says. It says SMH. It says, I think there are probably more actual events that he can't actually sue for. Ooh, and so this complaint is the remaining things that the attorney can file for. At Styles P, that could make more sense simply because this same lawyer, when he filed for Tyler Perry, he filed a bunch of stuff and added a bunch of claims where the statute of limitations had already passed, but he put it in there pretty much hoping and or expecting that they would send Tyler a demand and be able to squeeze out some millions, some money rather than none. I think too here, likely with this Will Smith lawsuit, because we now know that is this lawyer's strategy when he's dealing with these celebrity SA allegations, because we know that's his strategy, he very likely in this Will Smith one, he knew this sounded stupid. That man knew this sounded stupid. What is his name? So we know that he knew it sounded stupid, but he said, you know what? Will's reputation is so important to him. Maybe he'll give us some money to just make this go away. Maybe we'll take a little 6-figure check, make it go away. The lawyer gets 33 and a third or 40%, and then they go on their way. Because this, the attorney is Jonathan Delshad. I saw him on like the Law and Crime Network, and he actually didn't know a lot of the facts here. Like, he was asked, were there more things that Will said to him that made him feel groomed? And he was like, oh, I can't remember. I can't remember. My client told me. Let me tell you, if you took this case on these facts, you are either poor or slow. Poor or slow. Okay, you might be poor. You might be just trying to squeeze something out this celebrity. But I anticipate that immediately once Will Smith's lawyers respond and file their documents, they're going to file a motion to dismiss simply based on the words. That means we don't even have to wait for more evidence. Their words alone do not give rise to the case, because it is not showing how Will Smith is responsible for any of this other than saying we have a connection. Do you know female mentors I've had on the job who would look at me and be like, oh my gosh, you remind me so much of myself when I was your age, and things like that. We cannot discourage or penalize or call it SA because somebody is finally being nice to someone else in the workplace. Most of us hate our coworkers. Not me. I love my staff. But this is nutty. So I just want to say my overall thoughts. I think this is nutty. I think this is a case where maybe the lawyer was hoping more facts are going to show in support of the claims later down the line. But this right here sounds stupid. And I think that young man, I feel sorry for him, because he's probably going to have a really, really hard time getting hired for any commercial tours until this lawsuit is resolved. And it needs to be resolved in a way where other artists are not going to feel that if they hire him, he's going to accuse them of something crazy and sue too. All right. So that's it for Will Smith and his case. And last and of course, not least, Cardi. The Cardi B, Tasha K. She's so sick of her. I mean, it's like they make progress and then the progress goes away. Help me move that. It's like, so months ago, last year, Tasha K, she basically took a victory lap. She was excited. She was highlighting the fact that, here we go. So this is the last case we're doing, is going to be about Stefon Diggs, Cardi B, and Tasha K. So Tasha K was basically taking a victory lap. She was very, very proud of the fact that she resolved, as she said it, her case with Cardi B. The resolution, and this is so interesting to me, the resolution was truly, she acted like she only needed to pay a little bit. It was just a payment plan. She still got to pay every dime, all $4 million plus interest, but it was a payment plan. However, one thing that I found interesting, because I had all the documents, and we're not going to go through all of them. I'm going to bring you forward to the future, to now. But part of why Tasha felt so happy and relieved that this was done was because Tasha was basically running around having to hide her funds from Cardi B, because Cardi B was out here garnishing every which way from everywhere. So specifically, it said, what Tasha K was saying in some of the bankruptcy docs is that she was saying that the judgment, basically having to pay this money to Cardi B, made her, quote, it made the debtor, quote, panic and make hasty decisions that Tasha K felt were necessary to protect her family and her children. But that Cardi B contends those hasty financial decisions she made, meaning to hide her money, Cardi B felt that those decisions to hide her money were in violation of the court's order that Tasha K not move, sell, or otherwise get rid of any of her assets. In fact, unlawfully, against the rules of the court, this is the bankruptcy plan documents. Tasha K acknowledges she unlawfully created all these trusts here. She calls one is the Kebi, a trust for her children, the Kebi children. Another one is the Transrena Management Trust, a Florida trust, a Tapnall Family Limited Partnership. So remember, when I covered this before, I kept saying, Tasha K she posts the photo of her over in Africa in front of a bank, and she would just be egging Cardi on and posting these different things as Cardi B is trying to seek these assets, right? And I said, Tasha K needs to be careful because you cannot hide money from Cardi B without hiding it from the IRS, because the bankruptcy documents Tasha K was supposed to give over were the same types of documents that you have to provide to the IRS. And I was saying, it is not worth it to do all that, hide that money, because you're going to end up going to jail. It says, how's she going to resolve Tasha K's money better than Offset's money? I don't know what you mean by that. And then it says, basically, so ultimately they came to this financial agreement. And this acknowledges in these bankruptcy documents that Tasha K even took $25,000 and opened up this type of account. She opened offshore accounts and she acknowledged it in these documents. Okay. So Tasha K, she think I don't have no issue with her, but she hates me, baby. Oh, she hates me. She always talking about, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not a real lawyer and this and that. But I said, I'm glad she listened to that. I said, don't go to jail trying to hide this money from Cardi B. It ain't worth it. But check this out. So I had said, whenever I have clients call me and they are trying to collect money from someone, I said, look, if they have a YouTube channel, the good news is you can at least try to seize that Google money, because Google pays the 21st of the month every time. And sure enough, that's exactly what it says here. So basically, it all came to a head because Cardi B garnished Tasha K's YouTube money. Oh, that got her. She got her. Now, she also garnished her Chase account, but Tasha K only had $1,000.83 in there. That's what this paragraph here says. So Tasha K touted it like, ha, you didn't get nothing. I didn't have nothing in that account. But baby, when Cardi B got that Google, that means for that particular month, Tasha K made from her YouTube channel $9,304.81. That is just from YouTube. That does not include her sponsors. You know how she'll be like, this is the wine, this is that. That doesn't include her sponsors. That does not include her, she moved everything to her own website with membership, so that because she knew this was coming. Smart. She knew this was coming. And I said it. So once Cardi B got that Google money, because the court order was going to allow her to take Tasha K's YouTube money every month. So Cardi B was going to get $10,000 every month. That's when Tasha K said, oh, hell no, I got to file this bankruptcy. And so that's what this paragraph C is saying, that as a result of that, because there was a garnishment, meaning Cardi B could take the money, that the defendant then filed documents to basically come up to some type of financial agreement with the bankruptcy. All right. So fast forward. So here's what happened now. So I'm gonna pull this down and we're gonna talk about Cardi B's baby daddy / fiance and what he is alleged to have done. So here are the allegations, and this is kind of what started the beef between the two. Let's do the share. Here we go. And I'm gonna break this video up because I know it's getting long. I'm gonna break it up so that each topic will be separate. Here we go. So this is what it all started with. Cardi B's baby daddy, which is Stefon Diggs. He plays for the Patriots. He's got a $90 million deal. I want to say 60 million of it is guaranteed. That's why Cardi B is like open to a lot of this foolishness.
Right? Some text messages, but the text messages
he was charged. A police reporter charged him of assault and strangulation allegations. I'm going to actually read you guys the police report, okay? I'm going to read you the language from it. Let me know what you think of these facts. And what really ticked Cardi B off was that Tasha K then starts talking about this case and accuses Cardi B of witness tampering. Oh, of witness tampering. Yes. And here's the thing. Babe. Here's the thing. I got them documents. I don't play. I'm one place you can come to for receipts. Here's the issue. Look right here. This is the actual bankruptcy plan. The bankruptcy plan has a non-disparagement, meaning Tasha K got to keep Cardi B name out of her mouth. Here's what's crazy. All of this occurred, the whole $4 million verdict and all of that, it occurred only because Tasha K wouldn't keep Cardi B name out of her mouth. So from the beginning, all Cardi B was asking for is for Tasha K to take the video down. This started in 2018, y'all. 2018. She just wanted her, Tasha K, to take the videos down because the videos claimed that Cardi B had AIDS, HIV, and that she did drugs. Okay. And that was terrible for her brands and all of that. Cardi B went, took an AIDS test, proved I don't have it, and said, take this down. Well, under the law, because Cardi B is a celebrity, you're allowed to kind of say whatever you want about a celebrity as long as it's not what's called willful and malicious, meaning if you know good and well it's not true, you can't say it. But like if, let's say Tasha K calls up a former best friend of Cardi B, and that best friend were to say, yep, she got HIV and she does drugs. Well, because Cardi B is a celebrity, and the defamation standard for celebrities is super high because we should all be able to talk shit about celebrities. This is what the law thinks. Then even if it was a lie, as long as Tasha K went to what appeared to be a reasonable source, she could repeat it. The problem was after Cardi B took the goddamn HIV test and drug test or whatever else and provided proof she didn't have the HIs or the Vs, and Tasha K wouldn't take it down and kept talking about it and kept lying about it. That's what created, she got punitive damages, which means they multiply your damages. You have to do even more. And the punitive damages, which are also called like intentional damages, willful, punitive damages cannot be wiped out in bankruptcy. That, ladies and gentlemen, is why the bankruptcy could not get rid of Tasha K's debt. See, Tasha K thought, okay, like she did the calculation and she was getting so many subscribers, more. She went from like 200,000 to 1 million. So, I mean, I can understand as a businesswoman, you could see it as a marketing expense. Like how that lawsuit caused her to get so many more followers in such a quick time. And if she's thinking, all right, I'm going to get all these new followers, I'm going to make all this more money, and then I could just file bankruptcy when it's over, we're good. The problem is she did not consult with a bankruptcy lawyer prior to coming over to do their plan, because a bankruptcy lawyer would have said, no, girl, if you get treble damages, which is what is the punitive damages, which is what happens when you now know something is false and you keep saying it, you're not going to get rid of nothing in bankruptcy. So that's how we got here. So again, Cardi B was like, take it down, keep my name out your mouth. Tasha K, at the time, she could have got out this lawsuit paying zero. She told Cardi B, I can't not talk about you. I cannot agree to any agreement that says I won't speak about you because you are such a famous person that I can't promise in the future something's not going to pop off that's going to require me to give my commentary. Okay, I get it. The problem is that when it was all said and done, the bankruptcy judge added this provision anyway. This is G, non-disparagement, which says Tasha K can't talk about her. So basically, when Tasha K was like, oh, this is a victory, it's not, because you could have walked away paying zero. Now you're paying $4 million and doing the one thing you said you would never agree to do, which is not talk about her. Oh, and by the way, someone has a good point. This is her Tasha K's lawyer didn't tell her that before she filed for bankruptcy. Here's what I need you guys to know. And if you don't hear nothing else tonight, hear this. When you hire a lawyer, generally when we go to law school, we specialize in one thing. Bankruptcy is very, very specific. She went to somebody who pretended to be a defamation lawyer. That lawyer was so bad, I don't think there was no type of defamation lawyer. Defamation lawyers don't know bankruptcy code. So that lawyer likely would not have known that you can't get rid of malicious punitive damages in bankruptcy. You would need to consult with a bankruptcy lawyer. So for that reason, I remind people all the time, if you got especially, let's say you got a car accident, but somebody that died in the accident, like needed a will, you need to go to a probate lawyer for that car accident, or come to a firm like mine where I work with all the different types of lawyer and we come up with a strategy all together. I would have told her this. I would have said, here's why this is dumb. You're not getting rid of that in bankruptcy, and then you're going to piss off the judge. All right. So look, I'm going to read to you real quick the non-disparagement part. And this is what is relevant to the Stefon Diggs situation today. All right. The paragraph says, as a condition of Tasha K's bankruptcy, she is the debtor. It says that the debtor, that the debtor, like her staff, her heirs, her affiliates, her husband, everybody agrees not to publicly make, publish, or communicate, whether directly or indirectly, any derogatory, disparaging, or defamatory statements, remarks, or comments. Those are called primitive comments about Cardi B. How? Wait a minute. Remember, Cardi B just kind of wanted it about herself, maybe her kids. The judge said, we're throwing everybody in there. It says it can't be about Cardi B, her family members, which include without limitation her kids born prior to and after the lawsuit date, her husband, her siblings, her parents, her step-parents, her grandparents, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, and cousins. It said it excludes any cousins more removed, more like second cousins. So your first and second cousins, she can't talk about. Okay, but your third cousins, because nobody know who that is. That would include baby daddy. Let me know your thoughts. Family, because it was family members, right? It says her family members. A baby daddy is your family member, even if you hate him. Therefore, that's in violation of this. And she said she cannot do that, quote, in any public forum or medium, including but not limited to social media accounts, websites, blogs, or other communication channels. And it also includes that this cannot channels that are controlled by her or her husband or any of her LLCs, Unwind with Tasha K, the wine cellar, any of that. It says that cannot be done, quote, whether or not it is done explicitly or implicitly. Like if you are talking about her directly or implicitly, then you violated this. And guess what? If you violate it, quote, the whole payment plan can go out. That it is a material breach, and Cardi B can ask that the whole payment plan be done, and Cardi B can start garnishing stuff. So that's how come Tasha K, we won't get to what Tasha K done. She trying to get it together now. Tasha K's a little concerned. It said, yep, that's why Tasha K went back and took down her stuff. But here's the allegation. I'm going to read to you the allegations real quick about, here we go. Oh, wait. I need to pull that down. Hold on. We're going to pull this and add this back up. Okay, here we go. All right, so here's the allegations. It states, and the timeline matters. Okay, so this is a transcript from the police report. So the incident happened on December the 2nd with his chef, allegedly with his chef, but it was reported on the 16th. This matters. Keep this in mind. It says, on the 16th, this is the actual police report. They pasted the text on this page. It says, while assigned to the front desk, the victim entered the station to report a past incident. The victim appeared emotional and was initially hesitant to give a statement. She asked for a female officer. I checked the scheduling sheets and saw we didn't have one until 4. I let the victim know this, and I told her I'd give her a few minutes to think about things and that I understood if she was uncomfortable speaking with me. He was a guy. After a few minutes, she said that she'd give the report to me. I brought her into the interview room off of the lobby, and we began to speak. After taking down her info, I asked her to tell me in her own words what happened. She was hesitant to reveal the suspect initially, but I told her I could take a statement, and we could talk about that later. As in his identity later. She went on to say that on December 2nd, she was working at a private chef at whatever, and that on that date, the male that she worked for entered into her unlocked bedroom. So apparently she was living there. They had been having an ongoing text exchange over money that was owed to her. She said they began to discuss this, which apparently angered the male. She alleges that the male then smacked her across the face. She said that she tried to push him away. The male then tried to choke her using the crook of his elbow around her neck. She said that he was behind her with his arm wrapped around her. She said that she did feel like she had trouble breathing and that she felt like she could have blacked out. She said that as she tried to pry his arm away, he tightened his grip. At that point, the male threw her onto the bed. He said something to the effect of thought so. And then she told him that she still hadn't been paid. At that point, the male said lies and walked out of the room. She explained to me that he needs to sign off on payments in order for her to be paid. That makes sense. And it can also make sense why he might say lied, because I have to do that for my business. And sometimes I will tell my staff, like, okay, I've approved it, and they're supposed to add my signature. So if someone's like, hey, how come I haven't gotten paid? I might be like, yeah, that was approved, So anyway, he said lies and she walked out. She explained he has to approve, which is why she confronted him directly. She said, that makes sense. I asked her if she had documented any injuries when this occurred. She said that she had some redness on her upper chest area, but did not take photos. Okay, guys, that's when I'm like, huh. Would you not take photos if you had redness and you knew you were dealing with failure to get paid from a $69 million man who had just hit you and tried to choke you? Oh, baby, I'm getting pictures of everything. I'm getting pictures of the bed if it was ruffled up. Why wouldn't you take pictures of you? Even if you take a picture, like I've even seen where women took a picture of themselves and maybe by the time the picture was taken, you couldn't see it as much, but you could tell they were at least attempting to document what their body looked like. Now check this out. Next it says, at this point in the conversation, the victim revealed that the male's name was Stefon Diggs, who currently plays for the Patriots. Due to his fame, she said she was very hesitant to come forward with this. For me, due to his fame, I would be 10 times more likely to take pictures because I would assume I'm not going to be believed, number one. And number two, I know he's got staff and lawyers. So the more proof I have, the more I can take to the staff or the lawyers to get them to give me my money, is what I'm thinking. Okay. So as someone said, okay. Someone was speaking about that husbands have more priority under the law than boyfriends. I think they're speaking back about under the provision of the non-disparagement that says you can't talk about Cardi's family. Ghetto as it seems, that provision that says Tasha K can't talk about Cardi's family will cover both her husband and her boyfriend. Go figure. Now let's continue here. Going back to the police report, this last paragraph is now saying, the cop said, I inquired about the details of her employment so I could understand the relationship. She said she began as a private chef on or around July 20th of 2025, and that her employment was supposed to go through the end of the NFL football season, which would be like January, February. She said she's normally paid by wire transfer, and the initial agreement was for weekly pay. She said that since she has been working there, she's been getting paid monthly instead. As of now, she said that she still believes she's owed a month's salary. In early November, she was told by Diggs that her employment was not needed for the week of November 7th to the 14th. This meant she would have to vacate her room for a week because he was having house guests. He told her to go home, and she said he did not provide any financial assistance for a flight to wherever her home is. And that is where she was going to go to stay with a friend. Okay, so not even her home. She wanted to go somewhere. So let's say it was Miami. He didn't give her money to go to Miami. And it sounds like this is where things went awry. And she said that's where she was going to stay. She said that since she did not ask to be sent home for a week, she felt it was fair that she still be paid her salary. Sounds reasonable to me. She said that is standard for this type of work arrangement unless the employee asks for time off. That's fair. Well, especially because that's also your home. So now you're not getting paid for the week and you got to find somewhere else to go for a week. So if you had to get like a hotel room, that would be annoying. That would be costly and you're not getting paid. It says, now after the alleged assault on December 2nd, the victim left her position, left her job, and left the residence to stay with a friend. She said that on December 9th, she returned to the house to get her property. At that point, she texted with Diggs, who told her to take up the monetary sum issue with his assistant. That makes sense because remember, she said She was handling the money with that person, but Diggs had to prove it. She said she spoke to the assistant from finance who explained that Diggs had requested that she sign a non-disclosure agreement before she could be paid. The victim did not sign any such agreement. Good job, girl. Listen, do not sign when you're leaving a job. You don't sign that unless they're going to give you something extra, more than the money they already owe you. Don't you ever in your life sign a non-disparagement without extra funds. Because like whenever you leave, even if you do a severance, sometimes they'll throw that in there. They need to give you more than just your salary to get you to sign that. In most states, that is actually the law. It might be across the nation now, but there was a court case a few years ago. The cop said, I told the victim we could proceed with an investigation and file charges, but she said she didn't want any charges filed at this time. Y'all, this is December 9th. I told her that as the victim, an officer would be following up with her regardless. I also let her know that if her mind changed, we could certainly go ahead with further investigation and charges. I also explained the process to her in regard to obtaining a restraining order. She said she did not wish to seek a restraining order. And she said that she did not wish to seek one. She said she just wanted to go home and had no intentions of returning, as in returning to this Boston area where he was living. She's from somewhere else. Says the victim was also going to email me any screenshots related to this incident at her convenience. Y'all, this is why I'm saying it is odd that she saw red marks on her body, but chose not to document them, but yet has screenshots related to the incident. So she did understand, you do need documentation. And then he says he also sent the DV risk assessment form and strangulation form. They were returned to her and added to the incident report. He said the screenshots were sent to me and added to the incident. And screenshots are always important because that gives the backstory, no doubt. But I'm just saying, when you're going against a mighty rich person, I think we all know we want more information, as much evidence as possible. So these came from the screenshots. It said these came from a different number than initially provided. When I asked about this discrepancy, the victim identified this as a number where she had communicated with Diggs in the past. On December 20th at around 9:45 in the morning, I spoke to the victim over the phone and we discussed how she'd like to proceed. As of this date, she still wanted to hold off on any criminal charges being filed. December 20th in the morning, she still wanted to hold off on any criminal charges. But I can see that if what you're focused on is getting your money and moving along, then that might be, especially if the other side is telling you like, okay, we'll get your check, we'll process your check. Because sometimes you could be concerned that like, okay, well, if I file this, it's going to prolong getting my money. I need my money so I can go home and move on. All right. So I don't know. So it's interesting that she still didn't want to press charges. That is interesting. She said earlier in the week, she received a voicemail and text messages from a female that she believed to be Diggs' girlfriend, Cardi B. Based on these messages, the victim believed that Diggs somehow knew the police were contacted. The messages stated something to the effect of, you don't need to do all this. It's not that big of a deal. Interesting. I assured the victim, this is going to be important. Sorry, this is going to be important because Tasha K is going to say something about this. Again, she said the messages made her think that Diggs was informed police were contacted because a woman, she doesn't know who, but a woman said, you don't need to do all this. It's not that big of a deal. But remember, he also has a female that's his assistant and financial person. I don't know if those are two different people or the same. It says, I assured the victim that Diggs had not been contacted yet by any members of the Dedham police in an attempt to fulfill the victim's request to then contact Diggs. The police officer called him at 10:10 a.m. on the 20th of December. I contacted Diggs at the number provided by the victim. The call went straight to voicemail. I identified myself for a call back. I contacted him for a second time. It also went to voicemail, left a second message. I notified the victim, and she also sent me an email for a woman that handles Diggs' business interests. If I have not received a call back by 12:23, the cop said I'll reach out to her. In the meantime, I received an email and voicemail from the victim on December 22nd expressing interest to go ahead with the criminal charges. I called her twice. On the 23rd, it went to voicemail. The cop said I left a message. And then on the 23rd, the cop spoke to her. She let me know she changed her mind from a few days ago, wanted to go ahead with filing the criminal charges. And the cop said he's going to be filing the criminal complaint against Diggs based on the victim's statement. And that's what's filed. Interestingly, I would be curious to know if she ever got her money or if she's still waiting. I'm going to assume she had not gotten paid yet. The two charges are assault and battery and strangulation and or suffocation. The assault and battery is a misdemeanor, meaning he's facing under a year. The strangulation, suffocation, that charge is like a minimum of is facing approximately 5 years. Now, fast forward to Miss Tasha K. Child, Tasha K is involved now. Tasha K posts and says, witness intimidation charges coming soon. You can't contact an alleged victim on behalf of someone being prosecuted. Allegedly. Y'all, that allegedly word is going to get a lot of people in a lot of trouble. Some people think they could just throw allegedly out and it just makes A-okay whatever they say before. And it's not how that works. It's not how that works at all. So then, here we go. Tasha and her end up going back and forth and Here we go. Let's switch over to this. Pull this down. So then they end up going back and forth. Cardi B calls Tasha K a bald-headed, obsessed B after she assumed, because Tasha K assumed that Cardi B reached out to Stefon's alleged victim, saying that because Cardi B is saying, no, the woman actually reached out to Cardi B. Now, I want to show you these text messages as well. These are, all right, this is a text message that Stefon posted from the chef to him. And he writes to her, I'm done having a texting match. You got it. Cool. The chef says, you'll be paying me out for the season and the money that you said you'd give me for my business. In other words, our contract was that I was to cook for you for the whole season. I didn't take any other clients for that season. You need to pay me for the whole season, even though, I'm not working for you anymore. And she said, you wasted my effing time being here because you got a effing circus going on. I'm out of your life. So that sounds, oh, sorry, I need to put this up. Sorry. I'm sorry, you can't see it. Let me pull this down. This is important. You need to see this. Listen. So she says, I'm out of your life. That's a weird thing to say to your boss if you are the chef. I'm out of your life sounds like you have more than a chef relationship. What y'all think? I'm out of your life sounds like you are going to miss me in your life. Well, if I'm a chef and that's the extent of our relationship, well, he can get some more food. He's a millionaire. Okay, he writes back, I won't be paying you ish. If I look like paying you and paying another chef. He's saying like, I'm not going to pay you for the rest of the time you're not even here because he's got to pay somebody else. It says, is you high, B? Who TF got to give you money for your business? He says, I don't got to do a MFing thing. And you can get whoever you want. You got my address. Tell them to come, take the money, and then F you talking about. And then he says, show me I'm P, like pussy. So that sounds like he's like, the money is here, come and get it. I know some guys who are like that, who literally would be like, they will owe you money and they will literally be like, come and get it. Like, just wire it to me. They will really be messy like that. But this is giving like, I won't be paying you, but also to say you would give me money for my business. That sounds like more too. Or it could be pillow talking. I don't know. But it sounds like somebody gassing her up because it's either one or the other. I'm either investing in your business and then I'm getting a %, or I'm paying you weekly for you cooking me food because you're my chef. Tell me if you think what am I missing here? All right, so going back, I'm just like, so that's the Oh my gosh. So here, I want you to hear this audio from Cardi. Child, Cardi's so upset. Don't forget, you can go to SymoneRedwine.com. If you're injured anywhere in the nation, I represent those in serious injuries with free consultation. All right, here we go. We're going to do this one. There it is. All right, so this is, let's see. All right, Cardi B drags Tasha K, an unfortunate, Red Media says bald boggler with fluctuating hairstyles for $4 million. No, that's not the one. That says she goes off on Spaces. Here's what I wanted y'all to see. Make this bigger. All right, now Spaces is where she goes off. I want you to see what Tasha wrote, because this is really relevant, because remember, we got the disparagement agreement in place. Tasha writes, put this bigger here. Tasha says, let me get that. She says, you know what? It's 2026. Let my bald-headed lion A ignore this. It's the same-ish, different year, Groundhog's Day-ish. We just transferred $44,000 cash. Anyhow, Happy New Year, winos, because every year she has to pay her like at least $1 million. So that 44 may have been like a quarterly payment under the bankruptcy. But Tasha K says, I'm a liar, just like the ends you got babies with, been lying to you. I will die a liar, but you will die being a lie too. And Tasha K says, witness intimidation charges coming soon. And that's what I read before. You can't contact an alleged victim on behalf of someone being prosecuted. So then Cardi B, said as she writes, first thing, she goes back because they started talking about Cardi B's daddy. And I don't know that Tasha K put this up, but somebody put up incorrect information that her dad was a pedo. That's not true. And we all know that's not true, because if it was true, Nicki Minaj or a Nicki Minaj stan would have brought that out when Cardi B was making comments about that. But I want you to hear this audio. Lord have mercy, child. Here we go. And they were going back and forth. I need you to hear this audio. Let me scroll back up. I mean, these people, they just be. That's not it. Oh, is this it? Here we go. Here we go.
And I let you slide a lot with your money situation that you got going on, because it's like, you know what? It is what it is. Shit is old. Now you go see. And you better hope I don't get that restraining order on your ass, because I can. Boy, you got to be coming online to harass people and lie about people, because you got to take care of your kids, because your husband is just there. Your husband is your employee. Facts. All that money that you act like you got, all mad bread to taxes, and that is a fact. You out here begging the IRS, and that is a fact.
Begging the IRS, oh Lord.
Begging the IRS to not take bread because you owe so much money on unpaid YouTube checks, and that is a fact. And one thing about me, I don't owe nobody. I don't owe a soul. I don't owe a soul. I don't owe fucking nobody. My bills is paid on time all the time. One thing about me is I'd rather not splurge than owe anything. That's why you miserable. You could never bother me. This is not 2008. This is not 2019 and 2018 when people used to hurt my feelings and like I used to cry. Y'all don't got that power on me no more. You don't got that power no more. You're scum. And I'm so glad I overpassed that. But bitch, don't ever get it twisted. Just the same way you think that you're doing something, I'll show you something.
What you gonna show us? Show us, girl.
Woo.
What you gonna show us?
This juice is nasty.
Oh, keep going. What you gonna show us, girl?
Why somebody said Erica fighting for her life trying to do Cardi? Why would you let somebody say this? I'm not allowing that. Oh, your feelings are hurt. Yeah, I take that serious. I don't play about that.
Oh yeah, I think you do try to misspell.
I don't even and everybody want to talk about sympathy and shit. Y'all don't even know half that I dealt with when I'm a fucking dancer. I don't ever think. I don't play that shit. I motherfucking hands. I don't like that.
And Afra is asking, what
so yes, my feelings are hurt, and I do not play that shit.
Here we go.
Y'all need to be the one that need to be evaluated. That y'all
see, I don't see proof that I don't see where Tasha said it about her dad either. It did get released, but it got released by Grok. I'm going to show you that.
She's suing people because of her feelings are hurt.
But I don't think
you can say anything you want to say about me. I don't give a. You cannot like me. You don't gotta like my music. You don't gotta like how I dress. You don't gotta like how I talk. But yes, I will take it very.
There we go. All right. This is the statement that was made about her dad. So let me see. It says here, and it says, what happens is his first, what happened was this FRL page, Female Rep Live, wrote, everyone's favorite go-to source of information, Grok, claims Cardi B's father is a pedo. That was that page, not Tasha. Now, I don't know. I haven't even seen that they've said like Tasha K reposted or anything. So I don't think that it's fair at this point from what I've seen to say that Tasha K said that about her dad. Tasha would not do that. The non-disparagement provision, I'm going to put it right back on the screen, is too clear that she can do that. She's not going to do that. Grok, which is basically it's Chat GPT, but it's powered by Twitter or X, put this fact in that's totally wrong. It said Cardi B's dad was convicted of attempted R-word in 1993 per Nassau County records. He served 5 years. The charge is real, not fake accusation to smear Cardi B. Check the court docs. Public record doesn't lie. That's what Grok said. And Cardi B states, first things first, my dad's never been arrested in this country. My dad's an immigrant from DR. He would be deported if he committed such a disgusting crime. That is 100% true. He says, I don't know why y'all like playing these games just for you to be fake mad when I post, whatever she's going to post. But so this is the part though, but look below here. Tasha K is saying the part, witness intimidation charges coming soon. You can't contact an alleged victim on behalf of someone being prosecuted. So that's what was posted. And now here, I'm going to put back up on the screen. Y'all tell me, do you think Tasha K violated the bankruptcy language by posting that and talking about her? So here's what it specifically says. Quote, that Tasha K cannot talk about Cardi B or her family. And it says, quote, I actually had highlighted it because I'm social media accounts, Okay, second paragraph here. Debtor shall ensure, Tasha K shall ensure no content related to Cardi B and or her family, comma, whether explicitly or implicitly will be published or disseminated on any of debtor's social media accounts, websites, blogs, or other online channels. So the question is, does Tasha K saying you can't contact that's witness intimidation, you can't contact a witness, basically the day after these allegations about Cardi B's boyfriend come out, and it is being alleged online that Cardi B reached out to the girl. Also that Tasha K, this started as well because Tasha K was going to interview the girl, the victim, and have her on Tasha K's show. So do y'all think that this is would be Tasha K implicitly talking about Cardi B by Tasha K posting and saying, quote, witness intimidation charges coming soon. You can't contact an alleged victim on behalf of someone being prosecuted. My understanding under the law of implicitly, I add language like that because implicitly means you didn't use my name. You use facts that allow people to put two and two together and say, oh, she's talking about you. Further, Cardi B's attorneys would be able to use as proof the fact that after she said that, all these people start tagging Cardi and saying, Tasha talking about you, she's talking about you, she's talking about you. That's implicit. Also, there are different people. Yes, indirectly, it says she would have to prove who else it could be, right? And then we've got the time frame of this. I don't even see what day it's on here. This was like the other day. But basically, this was right after it was released. And it was also stated that Tasha K reached out to the victim. The truth is, Tasha K, it would be dangerous for Tasha K to run the story at all because there's not really a way you can run the story without talking about Cardi B's family. Because as ghetto as it sounds, y'all, under this non-disparagement agreement you see here that defines family would in fact be both her husband and her baby daddy. Although under the law, it would generally be presumed that person would be the same person. We have got a non-traditional relationship. It says her child's father is family. I agree. Indirectly, Yeah, ain't Tasha K not supposed to talk about her or her man after Cardi B sued her? And yes, so that's exactly what we're talking about here. That if Cardi B could go to court, Cardi B could get a restraining order, which would prevent her again from talking about it. And Cardi B, if she wanted to, could set aside the whole payment plan. And she said Cardi B is going to be like paying her money until the end of time on her deathbed from her grave. Cardi B literally could start seizing her, could go to court, ask for an order that this payment plan that they previously agreed to be set aside, and that Cardi B can start garnishing bank accounts and the YouTube accounts and the Tasha K Live accounts and all that stuff, because there is officially a violation of the bankruptcy agreed plan. And the craziest part of this all is Tasha K held out and did not want to agree to take down the information, did not want to walk away paying zero, because she said she could not agree to not talk about Cardi B into the future, because that's what Cardi B was requiring in order for them to resolve this years ago. She said, nope, Cardi B's too famous. I'm going to have to talk about her in the future. So I cannot agree that I won't, because I will miss out on too much money by not being able to talk about her. Lo and behold, with the bankruptcy, the judge demanded this provision be added that Tasha K can't talk about her. And now Tasha K has to pay $4 million to not talk about her. And also now can't talk about Stefon, can barely talk about the victim, but you have to find out how to talk about the victim in the scenario without referencing her baby daddy, because that's her family. Tasha K is doing big things. She really, really is. She needs to back off this Cardi thing. It's not worth it. And Tasha K is doing so well that like she said, I just transferred 44,000 and then I just paid Cardi B some money. That was the whole beauty of the payment plan they just agreed to. Just agreed to this, y'all. Was it allowed Cardi to get off Tasha's back. Tasha don't have to hide funds, don't have to create offshore bank accounts, which is what the document, you roll back, I read more pages that acknowledged Tasha K created offshore bank accounts. She had bank accounts in the Caribbean, all kind of stuff in different places. For my members, I'll actually add this to the Members Live link so y'all can see the whole thing. Y'all can read all of it. It also talks about how Cardi B garnished her YouTube check. That YouTube check that came was $9,000 and change. And that is what had Tasha K running the bankruptcy court saying, okay, with this garnishment, we got to come up with something. We have to come to an agreement. So in the end, Tasha K she's making more money. The payment plan says that as Tasha makes more, she has to pay Cardi more, but that Cardi is not going to start seizing assets as long as Tasha doesn't violate it. However, it seems like Tasha K making these statements about Cardi B's baby daddy and Cardi B herself, by basically accusing Cardi B of witness intimidation, may have violated the entire agreement and now expose Tasha K to have to pay it all up or go back to court all over again. What y'all think? Let me know in the chat. Let me know down below. Let me know what other cases y'all want me to cover this week. There's just so much that's been going on. Of course, we got Yandy and Mendeecees. Can't forget about them. Let me know what you prefer in the chat. Also, don't forget, I need to get my analytics back up. So please share this on Facebook, share it on Twitter, whatever. Hit that like and resubscribe if you didn't already. It said, Symone, did I see? Yes, I saw my shout out from Sherry Shepherd. I covered that at the very beginning of this live, so you can roll it on back. It says, Stefon Diggs is required to file a petition for legitimization in court to be legally recognized as the father of his baby with Cardi B under Georgia law. That makes sense, because in pretty much every state, if a woman is married, the husband is presumed to be the father of the child, unless in the divorce paperwork, they state something else. So Cardi B, when she was pregnant, that was part of the holdup and what was making that divorce linger. And now it's also the debts that were accumulated. And Cardi B is like, I don't want to, you don't never pay your taxes. You never save money. I made investments. I did all this stuff offset during our marriage. I don't want to have to pay your stupid taxes when you took your money to trick off on bees. Share, like, and subscribe. Candy and Tide. Oh, yeah, we got to do Candy and Tide. Yes, Candy and Tide will be on the agenda this week. All right, thank you guys. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and I'll see you later in the week. I appreciate you.